Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now in today's video we are going to do a real quick unboxing. Now when I went to Blade Show 2019, I stopped at tons and tons of booths. Now at the end of the event I didn't actually buy myself even a single blade, but there was one that resonated in my mind. I saw it over and over. I thought about it numerous times. I never pulled the trigger on it until just recently. So in here I have one of these knives. Now let's be honest, you already know what it is based on the title of this video. However, the reason why I still have it in the package here is to show you my initial reaction, my initial impressions, and what I think about this knife once I get it in my hands. So as you already know, here I have the Condor Pictus. This knife is one, as I mentioned, that I have really sort of wanted to get my hands on for a while. And so now I finally get to do that. But if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about what I'm about to talk about, do me a favor. Stay tuned. So now this Condor Pictus knife, again one that I've just been excited to get my hands on, take a look at, really wanted to see this for myself. Now, I did buy this used, so I'm not sure exactly what condition it's coming in, but I'm hoping it's going to be something worthy of my time. So getting into this here, at least it was reasonably well wrapped up. So here, the Condor knife and tool Pictus. So this knife is definitely interesting. I like the fact that it has sort of a classic look to it. Now here you will see the sheath. My initial impression, this actually looks very nice. Nicely welted, good overall shape and style. A dangler, which I definitely like. I like the color, and I like the way it really looks with this handle. Sort of a classic look to it, nice and classy, good overall construction. As I look down the stitching, everything looks to be nicely done. Now inside here, if this was a brand new knife, it would have come with some arrows, I believe. Now this one does not have them, unfortunately. That would have been nice. I do not see them in here, so unfortunately, no arrows for me. But now, sliding out the knife again, this is used, but looks to be in generally fairly good condition. As I look at the overall quality of the edge and grind, I don't see any problems. Seems to be fairly sharp, and the tip, a little bit of damage there, but not too bad. So this Condor Pictus, this is 1095 high carbon steel, has a reasonably thin blade stock. Now I feel as though this is about 1/8 of an inch in thickness. Certainly not a 3/16 by any means, and I'm also pretty familiar with a 5/32, so I feel as though that's 1/8 of an inch. I will annotate that below. This has sort of that Condor grind you see on a lot of other Condor knives. It's like a real high Scandi grind. Generally these get very, very sharp, are great for chopping, are pretty durable. Now this one here does not seem to be the sharpest. I don't know if it's because it just wasn't sharp out of the box, or if at this point it has been used, but I can tell you this feels pretty nice in my hands. I like the scallops on the handle, gives you sort of an alternate grip. Couple different ways you can grip the knife. Now I do like a knife with scallops. I have done that myself on my TFK T17. Now I like the ability to get on these scallops for an alternate grip for food prep tasks. That works very well, but you can also invert the knife for chest pulls, things like that, where your thumb just kind of sits on top, indexes very well, and is nice and comfortable. And I do think this handle's reasonably comfortable. There's a little bit of a swell towards the back where your hand kind of locks into place. I feel like it's a nice, comfortable overall shape. Now the blade is very deep, so I'll be interested to see how that performs. It looks to be in excess of 1.5 inches, maybe closer to 2 inches. Again, I will annotate that below. Interesting work where you have this laser etched sort of Celtic design on there, not only just on the blade stock, but also on the handle. As you look at the top of the handle, you'll see that does wrap all the way around. You have those bright red liners, and I believe this is a hickory handle with brass pins. So overall, nicely done, looks great. Now, I think this, for me, could certainly use a little bit of oil, or at least some, boiled linseed oil, maybe mineral oil, something like that, just to bring this wood a little bit back to life. Maybe just touch up this blade a bit, maybe get a nice coat of oil on here. So for me, just a little bit of rehab's gonna go a long way. Now the back of the spine does not really feel to be the sharpest. It's not like a real heavy duty scraping spine. I could see it doing some good overall scraping work if you needed to, but I think if you really wanted that and intended on this being good for scraping, you'd probably have to file that down a little bit, really kind of square it off on your own. Now a couple quick impressions. I do like the fact that this has a little sharpening choil right there. Not a finger choil, but that little sharpening choil, which will allow you to get this blade sharp from the tip all the way to the back. Now I don't completely understand why there's a sharpening choil, but then also that notch. Doesn't make the most sense to me. This in reality could have just been sharpened all the way to the back. I don't know the intention of that. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of research and see why both these sort of little notches are built in there. But definitely interesting and something that I've never really seen before. Now I have to say I definitely like the tumbled look on this. I think between the etching and that tumbled look, it's a great looking blade. So at this point, I think it's time to bring this inside, tune it up a little bit, and we'll see what this looks like after I get to a little bit of rehab work on this knife. All right, so first things first here, had to come inside. I got crazy lawnmower man going on outside, and who wants to listen to that? So instead we get to come in here, and my kids are probably gonna scream, but whatever. So first thing I'm gonna do is just clean this up with some vegetable oil. It just helps to get any grime or grease or different things off, and that's also pretty good for the handle. So I'll just put more than I need and then wipe off the excess, but you'll see already just turning that handle, that beautiful color, just kind of helping for that overall finish, just to pop. And I'm gonna get a little bit on me, not a big deal. It washes off nicely, but the more you put, it just saturates into the wood. Now this isn't maybe a permanent solution, but it's good for now, just to kind of clean things up, see where I'm at, and then it allows me to get moving forward on a sharpening process, kind of getting this knife to where I think it's respectable and where I really want it to be in terms of the overall condition and quality. So now that I've sort of lathered that up nicely, set my rag aside. Now I'm going to get a clean one, dry off all that excess, and then we'll take a look. Just getting a clean paper towel here. Again, just a little bit more than I need, but that's all right. Just clean this thing up, and it's nice. So there you see, nice little luster on the handle. I'm just going to clean up my hands, and then we'll get into a little bit of sharpening here. So now that I have this generally cleaned up, basically at this point I'm going to strop the edge. When I sharpen, I definitely like to work in the reverse direction from the least aggressive to the most aggressive, and I can tell you by feeling it here, the edge is very rolled over. So that is to me a function of the prior ownership. I can feel it right through this area, and if you look, you can actually see compound getting snagged on the edge, and that's another reason to work sort of in reverse order. You can kind of see the deficiencies and understand where you need to work on the blade. So for me, basically going to work this edge, I need to get out my ceramic rods. So again, working in reverse order here, I'm going to kind of work this edge. Now the first thing I'm going to do is just run it backwards just a little bit, a couple times, try to straighten out that edge. Then I'm going to work it forwards, and at that point just sharpen a little bit more carefully. Now I can feel it again, that little bit of a roll, so this should help kind of square that away. In fact, I already feel it's working itself out. So now I can probably go forwards direction. Now again, with this grind, it's not really supposed to have a secondary bevel, so I need to be a little bit careful, but I'm not going to run it flat against this edge. I mean, to me, I'm not really suited to sharpening that exactly like a Scandi grind. I'm going to kind of go with this on a little bit of an angle here, have just a touch of a secondary bevel, but I should be able to get this back to nice and razor sharp. Now I can tell you, working here, I do not like this little hook that is just getting snagged. So it's kind of like counterintuitive. You can see there, it's getting like hooked on this ceramic rod. And my ability to really sharpen this would be much better if that grind just went all the way to the end there and just fell off the back. I mean, my hand's not even going to come near that with that finger guard, so I don't understand the purpose of that. It doesn't really serve a function, in my opinion, and if anything, at this point, is detrimental to my ability to effectively sharpen it. But I'll stay the course and just continuing to work this knife. It's already starting to feel much better. Now you can see the way the light is just glistening on that edge, especially up in this area. Definitely have just a touch of a secondary bevel. Now you can see it here, again reflecting, but that is nice and sharp, feels good to the touch. So it's going in the right direction in terms of a serviceable edge. Again, I'm working with what I was dealt, so just continuing to work this. I'll do some more passes on the coarse, and then I'll change it out to the fine ceramic rod. Now dialing this in. Now again, this is the Work Sharp Field Sharpener. I love this. It has been my go-to sharpener now for a number of years. It's basically the only sharpener I have regularly used other than strops, and this even has the strop on it. So this to me is a great way to go. You can really dial in an edge, and at this point where I'm just doing some serviceability profiling here, I'm not like reprofiling the edge, I'm just trying to get my serviceable edge back on here with 1095. I should have no problem. So a few more little passes here, and then we'll give this thing a quick touch on the strop and check it for sharpness. So that edge is definitely feeling really good. You can see that nice luster on the edge there, nice and shiny. Again, just a little bit of a micro bevel now, but that's perfectly fine. And then just a couple passes on the strop. It is no longer getting caught, which is definitely important. Feels much better. And let's see. So the point is still not perfect, a little bit knocked over from the prior owner, but not a big deal. And now in terms of sharpness, a little bit of a snag, but pretty good. I mean, without too much effort, this thing is in good, serviceable order. So, a couple little snags, but generally speaking, it's pretty nice. So definitely back in decent working order. This will work perfectly fine for me, and I have to say I'm looking forward to getting this out into the field. So alright guys, there you have it, a quick look at the Condor knife and tool Pictus. Definitely an interesting knife. Now it's a little bit of a shame that I didn't get the arrows, that would have been fun, but for the price I paid for this and my ability to get this in my hands, not a big deal. I think this is going to be a very nice knife, quality and functional design, right in my sort of style. I like this for a general size of a camp knife. Feels very comfortable in the hand, and as I mentioned, I am very much looking forward to getting this out into the field. So alright guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.